Welcome to the Vinyl Collective, your weekly journal of the hip-hop R&B landscape. I'm your host, John.
And I'm your co-host, Stoffer. Welcome. How you doing, John?
I'm good. Yeah. I feel like there's been a lot of music news in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Twitter's blown up with a lot of stuff.
A lot of shit's happened this week.
What's caught your attention the most?
Thing is, you know what? Yeah, I have it. I'm back. It's 2020. Let's just go straight into it. So I have the little facts about John because I left you for the Grammy thing, and that was like what 5-6 weeks ago. So I left it. I've been, it's not a banger, but I've been leaving it simmering. So
I thought we were done with this, but cool.
Absolutely not, mate. Come on, it's a Game of Thrones. I told you. So John. He's been talking his shit. Like you might have heard if you're an avid listener, he's talking a lot of shit on Big Sean. Here and there, saying he's corny, just kind of dragging his name. But, however, in 2016, I believe, 1988 dropped,
okay.
Yeah, he said it was one of the best projects that year. He thought it was amazing. Is that not right, John?
Take me back. Which project?
2088, him with Jhené Aiko. You said that was one of the best EPs of that year.
In 2016.
In 2016. See, you lived long enough to become the villain.
Oh boy. All right. I'm going to respond to this. That may well be true. I want to know first of all how you found that out. Okay, cool. I think if people listened to last week, they'd find out 2016 was not a good year for me. 2016, I was downloading music off DatPiff. So it kind of makes sense that I've developed. I've moved on since 2016, but yeah. Okay. Oh dear. To be fair, I remember I did enjoy that album. Looking back, I probably would be more critical.
Numero uno. Damn, that is.
Did I say number one EP?
Number one.
No, number one album.
No, I mean you just said it was the best project to come out that year. So you said best project.
2016. Yeah. There was a lot of good music in 2016, wasn't there?
And you said that was number one. I can't believe it. Maybe it wasn't I don't think, obviously it didn't come out at the end of 2016, but you called it. You called it, mate.
I'm going to need screenshots. This is embarrassing. I'd like to apologise to...
So yeah, stay tuned. You never know what I'm going to strike. He was not expecting that. But yeah, welcome.
Off my stride. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Jasmine Sullivan's dropped recently.
She did.
And yeah, I've just had enough. I've had enough of you guys. You guys piss me off every week. And then you know what it is? You know what? Yeah. Actually, I'll give that fact next week. I'll hold on to that one. But I'm just saying, right? Like, I look a lot of you guys' music's opinions. Sometimes, a lot of the time I just have to just let it, go by. I'm like, oh, you know what? I ain't got time for this. But when Charlemagne the God said Hotels was an instant classic.
This is what I think he said it 2 days after it dropped, maybe 1 day.
Yeah, and he tried to make it funny by adding all these other irrelevant comments to the tweet. I was like, man, people have really lost their damn minds. And I just need to say this, and because we're probably going to expand on it more next week because obviously we have a guest coming on. But liking an artist that was somewhat indie is not a personality trait. It's not a personality trait. It doesn't make your music taste any more defined than the next person. That's it. It's not. It's just you liking an artist that wasn't that big. And the reason why it's just so interesting to me is that Jasmine Sullivan has been out for a decade and a half.
I'm gonna say I believe. Yeah.
I heard Jasmine Sullivan
she's 35 now.
Yeah, she's a grown ass woman. And the thing is, Jasmine Sullivan's been in relevancy for a very, very, very long time. Like, I remember listening to, I think it was
the 2015 album. Oh, no.
Yeah, no, before that. So J. Cole did a cover. Yeah, so J. Cole did a cover of one of her songs. I was a huge fan of J. Cole. He did Need You Bad. This was before his first album. This is a long time ago, 2010, 2011. And obviously, I liked the cover so much. So I started listening to Jasmine Sullivan from then. So, Hotels dropped. And I was letting people have their fun with this one because you know what? People always do this. They always do it. They fall into the trap. It's like have you seen that Dave Chappelle video of when he's talking about the baboon and the salt? And have you seen that one? So
What's the
basically,
context
long
of
story
it?
short is the way people use baboons to find the oasis is that they put like salt underground. The baboon goes and gets it. The salt makes his hand larger. Yeah,
Yes.
do you know what I mean? And it's like he knows that he's trapped. All he's got to do is let go, but he doesn't do it. And then, whatever. This is what people do with music. It's like, your opinion is heightened by your emotions. You know it's bullshit, but you're gonna still like enforce it anyway. So people were going off about this record. People were acting like it was like fucking Control or something like that. Like people just going crazy. And it was only up until, I let it go. I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm not even gonna do this with anyone. Until Charlemagne the God opened his mouth, and I was like, fuck hell, mate. Like, whatever you guys are hearing or drinking, I want some of that because it's a long week. Like, you know what I mean? I'm tired of it.
Just to clarify, if people come back and be like, oh, if you actually listen to it, I've heard maybe 3 or 4 tracks. So I'm declining to personally talk about how I feel about the album yet.
Yeah.
But carry on. What did Charlemagne say?
This is what sensible people do, because I've listened to the record a few times over. So yeah, even if you listen to 3, 4 songs, at least you're man enough to admit that. Some people, they know they haven't listened to the whole thing, or you know what, they listen to the first 5, they get bored, and then they'll go back to it, listen to the first 5 again, get bored, and then they'll have a full-on opinion about the record. But what Charlemagne the God said, he just said a lot of waffle. I think he was just trying to pad his like wild opinion. He said a lot of things that just weren't relevant to the initial point. When he said, I think Hotels is an instant classic. And I was like, wow. And
that's something we've talked about so many times on this podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, like I was like, oh my gosh, the Kool-Aid is it's just irresistible. Like you just can't you can't stop it. It's inevitable. It's really Thanos in like Infinity War. Like you dread it, run from it. The hype comes all the same. Like once people like an artist, like they cannot let go. And it's just really weird that Jasmine Sullivan's the one people want to do this for. And I get it because, I'm going to be I'm going to generalize a lot here, but I'm pretty sure Jasmine Sullivan was that person that you found out in like college or something like that. Or maybe she was on the Insecure soundtrack. Oh, that was pretty cool. She was with Bryson Tiller. Like you've heard her songs here and there and you thought you were really cool for finding an artist that was kind of low key, but, not super quite like low key, but, still kind of relevant. Like you thought, oh, this is quite cool.
Yeah.
But liking an indie artist is not a personality trait. It doesn't make it doesn't make you more like of a seasoned listener just because you like someone who's not on the charts every time they drop an album. And now people just discovered her, so it's like, oh, this is so like, oh, Jasmine Sullivan's album is so sick. Like, and if people are like, oh, who's Jasmine Sullivan? Like, oh, Jasmine Sullivan's so underrated. Jasmine Sullivan's not underrated. I heard someone say that. Jasmine Sullivan is not underrated, by the way. Just because someone isn't topping the charts does not mean they're underrated. MF Doom died, I don't think he's ever had a number 1 record. People are not going to say he's underrated. People know he's rated. He's just underground. Jasmine Sullivan is a fantastic singer. No one's
apparently, talking of Doom, apparently his music streams, what if they jumped 850%?
Yeah, I heard about that actually. But
since the announcement, that is wild.
And this thing, like stuff like that, to me, I like that shit. Because I know some people are like, oh, see, now it's only known he's dead. You're just gonna like, focus on that artist. Which, you know what, fair enough. I get that. But at the same time, for me, good music is meant to be shared. So if more people are listening to Jasmine Sullivan, cool. I'm happy with that. But don't go too far. Don't lose your head. I said this last week with the chant shit. Don't lose your head. Like, again, I'm going to reserve opinion on this because we're going to speak about it more because, we've got a guest coming on. But let's not lose our heads. Again,
let it take time. Listen to it a couple times.
Something to think about. Just a little taster.
Yeah.
And I'll leave this question out and I'll leave it here. If Jasmine Sullivan herself thought this project, mixtape, whatever it's called, if she thought this was the shit, she herself would not release it as a mixtape. Would she? If she really believed it, she really believed in it, would she release it as a mixtape? That's what I'm going to say on that one.
I'm just going to let that
go
one
on, John. Spotlight's artist. That's what I said. Well, artist spotlight. I'm all over the place, mate. Like, let's just go.
It's cool. Our spotlight series this week was Baby Rose.
Yes.
So yeah, she's been around for a couple of years now. I remember I heard her on the Dreamville album. What was it? Return of the Dreamers 3. Revenge of the Dreamers 3. Which was 2019.
It was. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So a couple of years ago now. Yeah, just like super
unique,
kind of super unique voice. Like really deep and like that kind of odd tone to it as well.
Yeah,
which is, it's not like anyone else at the moment, I think, which is really cool. But yeah, you've listened to her album as well, right? The one she released, 2019.
Yeah, I was actually listened to it when I was in the shower just for we come to the call. But when I hear Baby Rose, I was thinking, it's like, how do I kind of like encapsulate her voice?
What she is.
I was kind of thinking about this. So if there was like a opera show that was run by Black people, she would be in it. That's the way I'd see it. Like, it's that type of voice. It's like it's not necessarily built for traditional like R&B or neo soul or anything like that, but it's still got that grand to it. It's really weird. So that's the best way I could put it, where it's just like, it just seems like it's just made to be belted out in a sense. Really unique voice, to be honest. Speaking of her project, the name just leaves me now, God's sakes. But her project, really, really good. Obviously, you kind of put me onto Baby Rose. I think, what song was it? All to Myself. Obviously, amazing song.
Brilliant.
Amazing
the
song.
fact that she got drunk and then recorded it.
Oh, did she really? I didn't know that. Oh.
Yeah, so she apparently was like, she was drinking, was it mimosas and tequila? And then got pretty drunk and then sang it. And you can
kind of tell because she kind of breaks tone while she's singing. Yeah.
You know those things where like people are talking and then their voice cracks and they like kind of like sob, and you can hear that.
Yeah.
Which I think is super authentic.
So the album name, To Myself, sorry, it just came out to me. But the whole process of her talking about like a relationship and things like that. And it just seemed like once it gets to All to Myself, that's when like she can't kind of hold it together in a sense. So I didn't know that. That makes the song way better in my eyes now. So this.
Yeah.
What was the song? Borderline. I really enjoyed that song. That song is so good. We also had Damn on one of our 3 songs. Tell me more about Damn, John.
Damn is a great song. I think that's probably another one of the songs where you can just kind of feel the emotion in every kind of literally in every note, which sounds super cliche and cheesy, but like that's the thing with her voice, that it goes so kind of like deep, like her voice is so like deep and cavernous that you can like kind of really feel it when she's singing those deep notes. I think that's again something she does in Damn. But definitely check her out. Again, if you saw our Spotlight Artist this week, you saw our post, or didn't, definitely just check her out. Mean, we've got songs if you're new on our playlist, don't we?
So if you're new to this
Spotlight
collective,
series.
We have our Spotlight series. So where we have an artist that you probably haven't heard too much of, or you're like, oh yeah, I didn't know they were involved in that. Oh, that's crazy. So we have every week where we drop a new artist. We put our 3 recommended songs on our playlist, which you can find on Spotify. The link should be on our link tree. Go check them out. This one is really a really good artist to check out. She also, she showed us some love as well. Shout out to Baby Rose. Who knows? Even she might be listening to this right now.
We saw.
Yeah. Also quite weird, obviously, this is like if you think of the 2 singers from DC that are kind of coming up right now, you got Baby Rose, who's like, deep, unique voice, and then you got Ari Lennox. So it's like you wouldn't, do you know what I mean? You wouldn't put them you wouldn't say them from the same era. It seems like completely different paths. When I was listening to Baby Rose, I think even though her voice is completely different, I think the way she sings and like her melody, it's a different like pitch, but I feel like it's very similar to Ari Lennox in a sense. Like, maybe go back and try to listen to it. This is something I'm throwing out, but
I would.
But I think okay, like, because normally when artists come from the same area, not all the time, but usually there is some sort of similarities between them maybe in terms of what they talk about, especially with rappers,
or like their cadence,
or
whatever it may be. If the rappers,
Do you know what I mean? So like, for example, Roddy Ricch and Kendrick Lamar are both from Compton. They're wildly different artists, but they do kind of talk about the same things. I know it sounds weird, like what, but no, they actually kind of do, especially when they're talking about like stuff that's going on in the area. So yeah, I was kind of trying to think, okay, so what's the connection between those two? But again, they're still very different artists in their own right. But yeah, it's kind of good. Like DC's starting to build like, imagine them doing a show together. Like DC's starting to build like a little scene for themselves.
Yeah, that would be sick. Yeah, she's got so much potential. Yeah. So yeah, one to watch out for.
Yeah, and also because like when you kind of look back and you do your research, you kind of think, okay, she's been around for a while. Like she's been kind of here and there, just like the little person in the corner, just adding her vocals there. But obviously her having her first full-length project. Obviously I know some of it was some of her EPs, but I think this is like a really good introduction, actually. I wish I kind of caught into it earlier in the year. But I think, I mean, sometimes we're going to do another album list this year, but I think I'm going to have like an R&B list and a rap list for this year, to be honest, because I feel like there's so many R&B artists that are just like, you might not make it to my full top 10, but I do want to give a shout out. So yeah, for sure.
Let's hope 2088 drop another album then. get top again in my books. You know what it is. It is. I was a big R&B. I still am a huge R&B fan, but I think I was just like, 2016 was a year. I think I was big into Janae and like.
I mean, a lot of guys have
had Solange dropped that year.
Oh yeah, Cranes. No, that's the song. That is the song.
Yeah,
I can't remember the title.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no excuse. That was me. I stand by it. 2088.
Yeah, look, we all grow up, we all mature, and we look back and we're like, damn, some of the stuff I was doing or listening to was just, same way some people listen to a lot of punk when they're in college or secondary school and they grow up, they're like, don't like none of that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's all stages.
I mean, like Pink Floyd is all right, but they're not that great. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
oh wow! I bet some people are going to respond 100%. To that. And if you have got a response, let us know on our email, which is the Vinyl Collective.
Vinyl Collective
Pod. Vinyl Collective Pod.
Shame on you.
Got it wrong. Okay, let's give that a second go. vinylcollectivepod@gmail.com. So if we're going to say something contentious today, or you've listened to Jasmine's album and you're like, it is an instant classic, leave Charlemagne alone, then give us an email.
I will reply saying you're out of your mind.
I will be sure to report you.
100%.
So
as the title suggests, we have a guest coming on. We're going to be joined by Amina in a second, so we're just going to take a quick break here and we'll be right back. Enjoy the interview.
We are back. Back. So we're interviewing Amia Brave today, so just wanted to kind of welcome you to the show, and really great to have you on today.
Thank you guys for having me. Happy to be here.
No worries. So just we'll give a quick rundown of who she is. If you live under a rock, then we're going to help you out. So so as mentioned, she's a singer from Southeast London. Also was featured in the very popular song that came out recently, Peng Black Girls by Annie. You're Nigerian born, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, I'm Nigerian. Yeah.
So sorry for that, Southeast London. So homegrown talent, we'd love to see it. So I think my first question to you was because obviously I think from the outside looking in, it seems like you kind of gained a lot of like buzz and popularity whilst in lockdown, which is quite weird for an artist, because normally when you have a buzz you can kind of like leverage that and like do a show here and there and things like that. But obviously you're kind of doing this all in lockdown, so how have you like adapted to kind of generating such a buzz and not being able to kind of do what you usually would do with like a buzz like that?
Like this third lockdown, is it the third one?
It's number 3.
It's like, I think this is the worst one for me, I would definitely say. Like it's really hit me that, oh my gosh, like COVID is actually like interfering with the work. Before kind of it was just like a steady pace. I was still able to I shot the medley in September, so I was still able to do things, if you know what I mean. But then like this lockdown is just like, because it's to infinity and beyond, like we want to do visuals for Sweet Love. I'm supposed to be have loads of recording sessions, but people have fallen ill. Like it's actually really slowed it. And I also feel like we would have been able to perform Peng Black Girls more. We had a show and stuff that got cancelled. So I feel like that's the part that sucks. Not being able to actually like hear, like see and touch the people who are enjoying the music, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And I guess, has it kind of affected you to kind of like making music as well? Because I know some artists, they kind of prefer being in the studio with like a producer or engineer, or how's that kind of affected that process for you?
Yeah, that's my method. Like I write at home, but I don't like recording myself. I prefer to just be with the engineer or the producer. So that's so annoying. It's so annoying. I'm not even joking, guys. It's so annoying. Like the fact that, you know, say for instance, one person in like the building gets COVID and then it's like, can't see you for another 2 weeks. And it's like, I really need to record it. And then also you're like, technically you're not supposed to be traveling. Unless it's like super duper necessary. And I believe in following rules. So yeah, it's been a difficult one. It's so annoying, honestly. Like it's just like, I don't know. But the good thing I feel like it's leveled the playing field, I feel like. So I guess kind of all artists are in like a similar place, similar space. So there's not that much pressure, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, have you kind of, I know you said the third lockdown's kind of been the most difficult, but like, do you still find yourself writing since you're just stuck at home?
Yeah, like a little bit. Like I have to kind of, I'm not one of those people who write all the time and every single day. But the good thing about lockdown is that it kind of gives you that time. So like that, like I'm working from home as well. So when I need to do my music, I just like, oh, let me just roll out of bed and quickly do it. Like, let me just think of this, or like I'm watching stuff and I'm like becoming inspired. So like I don't have to like kind of be like worn down by like the 9 to 5 and like being on the tube, and then when you're getting home all you want to do is sleep. It's like I've got time, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so that's good.
No, that makes sense. So I guess we'll just kind of start from kind of at your beginning of your career, which was quite interesting. I know, and you've probably heard it a bunch of times, where when you see someone with a talent, they always think, right, so, you know, you kind of grew up around that thing. So with you, in terms of singing, people think, yeah, music just blast around all the time in your house. But that wasn't the case, was it? No, you were just, you know,
really,
you just realized, oh yeah, shit, I could sing. And that was pretty much it, wasn't it?
Exactly. Like that was like, I never had music playing all the time, but then when I look back, actually, like my siblings, I guess they did play music all the time, but they definitely encouraged it for sure. Like when I was like 5, I have memories of them like with the little recording tape. I don't know if you guys remember that back in the 90s.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they're like forcing me to sing stuff, and then they'll record me and like record me in the camcorder and stuff like that. So I was always singing. Like that's one thing I do know, and I was always writing and making up songs. But yeah, no, it wasn't like my dad was playing the guitar and my mum was on like drums or something. Yeah. It wasn't that.
Yeah, and I guess did they encourage you once they kind of saw that you had this talent? You said kind of you started taking singing lessons.
Yeah, they were like my sister, because so I'm the last born out of 5 kids, so there's a huge age gap between me and my siblings. So like I feel like that was just like a blessing, really, because they were able to really see and like encourage my parents to nurture it. You know, if you've got older siblings, they pick up on it like, oh, okay. So when I was like 9, I had my first singing lessons. I used to go to drama school, used to do breakdancing, used to do ballet, used to do all of it. Like
just a full of creative.
Yeah, literally. And you know, it's so weird. I will say the best thing that my parents did were they left me alone. Like they let me be. Like it sounds so weird, but when I'm thinking about it now, it makes so much sense. Like they just let me be. Like I was always singing around the house. I always had like imaginary friends. I was always like playing outside. I was always allowed to just be a happy kid, if you know what I mean. So I feel like that really, really like nurtured it in a way that's like, even without, of course, my mum used to take me to the singing classes after school and on the weekend, but like also the nurturing was just letting me be a kid. So
yeah.
Okay. So speaking of that, so what at what age, did you start writing songs, would you say?
I'll say like in primary school I used to like walk around the house and make up stuff. And like I remember my first lyrics, one of my earlier lyrics were like, maybe I was like 11 or 12, like, and it's so funny because I wrote on like a piece of paper. I don't know if you guys remember this, like when you're young, you used to have like a printer in the house and you like white sheets of paper, so I used to just write on there.
Still got that, man.
Yeah, I know. It's like, but I remember being young, just always going to the printer, like getting all the pieces of paper and just writing on it. So I was like, yeah, in primary school, and then when I was like in secondary school, I was writing all the time. I used to just come up with like different like verses and hooks, and yeah, I was always writing something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and just to kind of add on to that, because I think you mentioned someone that you kind of had a habit of, you wrote these songs, but you had a bit of a problem kind of finishing them. And obviously, here you are now fully making songs and things like that. So what kind of made the difference? What kind of helped you transition from, okay, I have these kind of half finished songs to, okay, I'm going to fully flesh out this whole song?
You know what's so weird? Like I've been recording like since I was in secondary school. Like that's the first time I've ever recorded in a recording studio. We had one in our school. So I've been doing that right up to now, and I'm telling you, like I would say finishing only started like a year or two. Like actually finishing sometimes, because and I always say it's like songs can be like kids almost, like you just don't know how your child's going to turn out, so it's like you just don't know like if this song is going to give you any trouble or not. So some songs come and they just come easily and it's just easy, and there's others that they're a bit more challenging and it requires more thought. But yeah, like it does start off with just singing around the house and those little melodies to like actually understanding how to put it all together. And structure is something that I've learned over time and I'm still learning. So it's a process for sure.
Yeah. And I guess in that kind of like period of time, you said, recording while you're at school and kind of writing, like, did you kind of see music as like a realistic option at that point? Like, you did, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like I always knew. Like the funny thing is, I used to act. So and everyone thought I was gonna be an actor. Like they always thought I was gonna be an actress. Like for sure, for sure. But for me, I always preferred singing. I always loved writing. But yeah, I always wanted to be a singer. Like I literally, I had like, I wish I could find it. Like I did like a collage one time for school, and if you saw what was on it, was like it had like a Grammy, it had like MTV, it had like everything I loved and imagined. So. Like yeah, it's so when I look back now, you guys are like triggering a lot of thoughts. Like I definitely considered it then. Yeah, I've always wanted to be a singer, so it's weird it's happening now.
Yeah. In terms of singing, because I know like some of your biggest like inspirations are like people like Keisha Cole, Jasmine Sullivan, who's obviously just dropped a project recently, and like Lauryn Hill. But in terms of singing, did you always kind of see yourself as an R&B singer? Cause I realize a lot of people kind of just call you an R&B singer, but is that kind of how you see yourself? Would you do like soul and stuff like that? Yeah.
Exactly. The thing is, I am a genreless person, like, but of course, like, unfortunately, like in the world we live in, everyone has to like categorize you somewhere. So I fit in well, like in the R&B world, but I am like genreless. Like when I used to write music when I was young, I wasn't thinking, oh, this is just a song, isn't it? And if it's a good song, it's just a good song. Like, so yeah, like and also I feel like for me as well, I know that the songwriter like arm of myself was growing and growing. So when you're a songwriter, you write like all sorts of genres and all different types of styles. So
exactly.
But I just think I fit in like in the R&B world because it's also like what I listen to and also what I enjoy, and it comes easy, it comes natural to me.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. And I guess talking about kind of like R&B and like UK singers as well, there's obviously a lot of like talent at the moment, a lot of kind of prestigious singers, Leanne Havas and Neo and like FK Twigs. Like, is that something you are like constantly aware of and thinking about? Like you like the breadth of talent in this field at the moment?
Yeah, honestly, like it's so exciting and it just brings me so much joy because there was a time where like this space wasn't really fully occupied the way it is now. There's so many of us, which is so good. Like it just feels healthy, and it just like the same way like loads of other genres grew in the UK, like the garage, the house scene, whether it was drill. I really feel the same will happen for like R&B for soul and for this style of music. I feel like it's definitely going to explode this year and the years to come. So yeah, super exciting.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with that. I feel like I always say this to John, like when it comes to like UK rappers are definitely kind of becoming more popular and there's a lot of good UK rappers, but I feel like when it comes to UK singers, like the talent in this country like immense. Like you kind of look at a lot of the famous UK singers. A lot of them are like worldwide talents. Like FK Twigs is a worldwide talent. You know, Georgia Smith, Ella May, Leanne Havasney. Like all these people are known around the world. Even Tiana Major, Mahadi. Like there's just so many. Whereas when it comes to UK rap and like drill and stuff like that, there might be a few pockets outside the country, but it's not nowhere near as much as the singles. So yeah, I fully agree with you on that one. But even speaking of music, so I was listening to a Lauryn Hill interview. I think it was like from the year 2000, a few days ago, and she said something quite interesting that made me think of you. So she obviously Lauryn Hill, really popular singer and rapper, very revered in the world of rap and R&B. But she also said that she doesn't really listen to a lot of music. She doesn't listen to only like 2-3 hours a year. And I know you kind of share the same sentiment. So in terms of I find it really interesting because obviously people who make music, you kind of think, okay, they always got to kind of stay inspired in a sense, listen to everything that's out there, kind of, see what they can kind of like create. But for you, how do you kind of find inspiration knowing that you kind of like don't, visit new music that much?
It's so funny. Like if I put a list of the things that actually inspire me, music's towards the bottom of it. Like conversations inspire me. Like just talking, like someone might say something, I'm like, and I literally just write it down in my notes on my phone. I'm like, that's such an interesting like concept or idea or a thought, and I just follow that thought to wherever like the ending is. Film inspires me a lot, like the images. So not necessarily like maybe what's happening in the scene, but maybe the way like they've done the set. Like I'm thinking about like, what is this set telling me? Like, why did they choose this particular shot? Why did they choose these colors? Why is my character wearing this outfit on this time, on this day? So music is like inspiration for me. Is like the world around me. Like the world around me is like speaking to me. It's like really telling me like different things. It's informing me and it's allowing me to, I guess, like just like be a vessel for the things that I want to say and do. So music is like literally at the bottom of that list, like in terms of inspiration. Like music kind of like listening to other people's music teaches me about music and what works and like what's digestible and how to structure songs and all those things. But actual inspiration is like so many other things that inspire me than music. Yeah.
I might go off on a bit of a tangent here, but when you're saying about like just everyday conversations, like things going on around you, a debate we've had a few times on the podcast is about the Heady One Fred Again project earlier this year. I don't know. Are you a fan of it? Was it?
I haven't even listened. And
I don't know if
that's cool.
There was just a lot of backlash because kind of he'd gone in a different direction. But the producer, Fred Again, like he says about his kind of production style, he doesn't, a lot of kind of producers like sample music or they're really like heavy into like vinyl collections. But he just like literally takes samples of sounds, like conversations, like TV episodes, things he sees outside. And yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting what you're saying. That,
no, that's so dope. I feel like
doesn't have to be the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like that's so cool. I mean, I like kind of what Lauryn Hill was saying. I literally listen to like 2 albums a year. Like actual, though they would get rinsed. Like maybe I could play them like over 100 times, and then I can take in singles, but it takes me a long time to take in music. So I have like a long backlog of albums and things I need to listen to. And that's also I also when I'm like in the creative process, I can't listen to stuff that's out there because it just influences you too much. And then sometimes you end up becoming a replica rather than like being yourself.
No, I think that's a fair point as well. And like it's also good to kind of know that you share the sentiment of like not shuffling a song or sometimes shuffling an album rather. Yeah, like it seems like you do kind of like when you find an artist, it seems like you do kind of just sit with that artist for a while and you really just soak that person in.
Soak it up because sometimes I feel like I love albums personally. That's my favorite choice. Like it's like I take it like a book, like you top to bottom, and I feel like sometimes, especially with great artists and great teams of like who created a body of work, they usually have a lot of hidden gems in it. Whereas like sometimes you do need to listen to it for a few weeks. Sometimes you need to listen to it when it's raining. Sometimes you need to listen to it when it's sunny. You know what I mean? You need to take it in different times, and it really does. It's like a soundtrack almost. So I'm one of those people.
So moving on to kind of like you've you learn how to kind of like write songs, and you know you've been performing for seems like pretty much most of your life. So then you have like your first single, Young and Misguided. Yeah, talk to me more about that, because this is something that you kind of created like in your uni room, it seems.
Yeah. So yeah, like the social commentator that I am, I just was in a position and in a just in a place where that is just a true story that was happening to me, and I just basically wanted to document it. And when I was younger, when I was like a preteen uni days, my emotions were all over the gaff. And so like music was like literally like what most musicians would say is therapeutic. And it was like a point where I could only write if I was sad. Like I could only write stuff if I really, really felt it. I'm not like that anymore. But I just used to use it as like a way of expressing the things that I couldn't really say to a person. I could just write it down. And then once I've written it, it's gone. Like that emotion was completely gone, and it's for everyone else to hear. But yeah, no, I have so many songs that I like that I've written in that time period that I can't wait to share with everyone, because it's like a little storybook.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely get that kind of emotive feeling here. Like I think one thing that really kind of stood out to me was the songwriting, and it kind of reminded me of the song. Kind of gave me like a Jasmine Sullivan kind of vibe. Was that kind of the type of music you were listening to at the time? It also kind of reminds you of her a little bit as well. Yeah, does
It's
that kind
so
of reflect
weird
the music
because
you listen to?
yeah, you know, it's so crazy that you say that, because at that time it was more like what was popular was like the Bryson Tiller. That was kind of the time, like the Party Next Door era. So her wasn't really like that. She wasn't till I left uni. That's when she kind of came out. So I don't know. I just naturally like my writing style changes. I don't know. Like sometimes I write really like in an abstract way, and then other times I just try to say exactly what it is I'm trying to say. But yeah, it just came natural to me. Like it's just my style. It's just that it just comes natural to write like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then I guess with your second kind of solo single, Sweet Love, you kind of said that you wrote that in a single day, and like that was actually for.
Yeah.
Is it right that there was a competition by the record label, right, to get
Yeah,
you? Yeah. So what was kind of your process, and yeah, how did you? You said you kind of received feedback and then wanted to keep the song for yourself and
Yeah,
release it.
so I
Yeah.
never ever got the chance during quarantine. I never got the chance to perform it. So I literally, there was just like this, the A&R of the label just put out like, yeah, we're going to be hosting a talent show during quarantine every Wednesday. Best singer-songwriters, best musicians. So if you have a banging song, like bring it, and like you request to go on the live. So I don't know if you guys know what Instagram live is like. There's like going to be hundreds of people requesting. So I had like all my friends, and this is the thing is it was their time in America, and so it was like literally their afternoon, and it's like 3 o'clock in the morning here. So I have all my friends like sitting up, like trying to request and like put Amia on. But yeah, I literally I could have used, like I had so many songs that I thought, oh, this will be good. But I just challenged myself, and I'm so glad I did. I just said, do I think I can make a banging song in such a short space of time on Tuesday evening, ready for Wednesday to perform it? And like, you know, when you write new music, you have to remember the words. But that's something I'm kind of good at. But at the same time, it's like to be able to like convey the emotion and to get it right and not mess up your lines. I'm like, oh, this is just like a day. Like, can I do it? And so it was really fast for me, because I just basically said to myself, I'm trying to write an R&B hit. That's what I just said in my head. This is my intention. And this is what I want the themes to be about. And this is how I want it to flow. And it just came out really. And then when I never got picked to go on the live. I was just like, oh, maybe I just keep it for myself then. But I never imagined me singing a song like that, because it's so like, it's like properly structured, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Follows the correct pattern of what it's very, very digestible. Like anyone can sing, a kid, an adult, and I'm a bit more abstract. So I was just like, okay, this worked, and people like it. So good thing I did.
Did the response kind of surprise you? It seems like you're kind of surprised by the response you kind of received from it.
I was like surprised in the way of like, oh, so this is what y'all want, you know,
like the formula.
You know, so, exactly the formula. Exactly, it's really, it is actually a formula, and also, it's not. I wasn't in love with anybody or anything like that, so it wasn't coming from a place where it's like, I put myself in the position of what would I say or what would I do. So it's like a songwriter place. Like it was like a song I would have given away rather than a song I would have kept. So yeah, and I never really sing like happy songs. So I was really proud of myself, to be honest, that I challenged myself to do it. Yeah.
That's before we move on. We were kind of talking the other day about like episodes and like Valentine's coming up, and we saw your song "Just Fine," which you released last year, right? The day before.
Yeah.
It feels like that song is so relevant this year. Like everybody's
Honestly,
stuck at home, and they're like, some people are pretty excited. You know, they don't need to do anything for Valentine's, but yeah, it felt all the more relevant this year.
It's weird you brought that up, because it's like we've been working on Just Fine, and taking it from that demo to a song. So it's had a lot of Zooms about that song. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, just now, obviously then moving on. So I think for most people kind of heard of you and your voice back in October. So October 15th is when the song Peng Black Girls with Any kind of dropped. So just before we kind of get into like the nitty-gritty of the song and everything about it, like, is Any someone you've known personally beforehand? So how did that kind of collaboration come about? Because and from what I know, Any already had the verses kind of set, and you just kind of came to do the hook. So how did that kind of interaction come about?
Yeah, so I've known her since 2018. So my sister's a playwright and a screenwriter, and she had a film school. And I was like one of the coordinators of the film school. And after class, everyone was just like, this is something I do everywhere, just put music on, just freestyle. And Annie was really, really quiet. Like she was still basically how she is now. And then she was just like, I freestyled, and another guy called Jack was freestyling, and then she just started freestyling. I'm like, what? Damn! Like, excuse me? Like, what? You know, when it's so unexpected, you're like, wow, like, she's amazing. Like, girl, I didn't know you could spit like that. Like, I didn't know you had all of this in you. And then we just always kind of kept in touch. And then one day she reached out to me saying, hey, Amia, do you want to, I'm working on an EP. Like, I have this song. I'd love for you to jump on and do this hook. So I wrote a completely different hook. And I think her and Amanda thought, oh, we need something that's more upbeat. And then I wrote the hook that we have now. And Quickie just went in the studio, did it, came up with it that day. And then, yeah, here we are. Like, just is doing good. So weird how that happened. Never expected it. Never did. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, there was fortunately, there's a music video was able to happen as well. Like, did you, how much like input did you manage to have in the process of making a video?
None. That was all Any.
Okay,
like,
cool.
None.
All right.
That was all Any's idea. Like she really had like a clear vision of what she wanted to do and what she wanted it to be about. And I know she sent it to different directors, and I think Otis. I remember we was talking about this while I was getting ready for the video. Like Otis was the one that really was able to capture exactly what she was trying to say and tell that story. And I'm glad it was him, because I felt like he did a really good job with doing that. And so yeah, it was just like, can you get your mom and your sis? I'm like, yeah, can, like, my mom and my sis be in it? She's like, yeah. So it's just, I feel like everything happens for a reason, and it really did come together perfectly in the way that it came together. And I'm grateful for it, for sure.
Yeah, like even when listening to the song, it just like, yeah, I think both you guys from South London, I do get that like South London kind of feel to it, like a summertime. Everyone's like, like it kind of takes you back to like when I was like used to live on the estate and stuff like that, just kind of that community feel. Was that kind of what you two were kind of going for in that sense, would you say?
So weird. I think like a lot of times again with music, it's so unintentional, but it's like the actual sometimes the subconscious things and elements that influence you are not always like on the surface of your mind when you're creating stuff, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So a lot of things are hidden within your DNA as an artist, and it literally just takes a moment for it to come out. So I don't feel like it's by chance that we're both from Southeast. We're both Nigerian. I don't feel like these things are by chance. We're both these two black girls. I just don't think it's by chance. I just feel like it all came together like in such a perfect way that I think even us, like, I don't think we could have, if we really sat down and said, hey, let's write a song about this, or let's do this. Amia, can you make a hook that's going to make people happy? I don't think we would have had the same product. I think it happened because we didn't even realize that all these themes and things that make us who we are were in us. We just allowed it to happen naturally. Yeah,
it kind of seems like the subconscious kind of just speaking and coming out in the song.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
cool. So yeah, obviously the song came out, there's a great reaction to it, and then kind of there's a remix as well. Like, were you on, and then the kind of the college show performance, like, were you kind of told that you were not going to be considered to it? Was it just a week before? Is that right?
Yeah, so the remix, I was just told that there's gonna have they were gonna do a remix, and that somebody else would be singing the hook. And then I didn't know about, I just saw Colours on the same time as everyone else. But then she let me know the day before that, you know, hey, we're gonna go ahead with the remix for the Colours show. But you know, like, I mean, the Colours turned out really, really good, and you know, got a lot of, I think it was trending that day. So yeah, it had a huge response. Yeah.
I guess what was your kind of your feelings surrounding that? Because I think there's just a lot of discussion in terms of obviously A, just not being included, but B, like your hook was also still in the song. So I guess did you have any feelings surrounding that in the video?
I think like any artist or creative will always want to be able to sing your hook. Like if you wrote, you're like, oh, wish I could be on it. But I think also I understand obviously the choices. I understand, you know, that it's just like, I guess, a musical thing rather than, oh, we're not gonna have Amia a part of it. But yeah, definitely, I was definitely gutted like that I wasn't going to be a part of the remix. I really wanted to. I'd have loved to just still be able to sing the hook on it.
Yeah, of course.
But no, I'm at the same time I'm happy because I feel like, you know, the remix did its job in exposing, you know, continue to expose and the original. And the original was really, really climbing and was still doing its thing and taking its rounds. So yeah, no, everything happens for a reason, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Obviously, the YouTube video is still growing and growing. It's like, it's well over 1 million now, isn't it? So
yeah, honestly, it was my nephew. Like, he literally calls me like about every little thing. He was just like, "Oh, did you know that? Da-da-da-da. Oh, you just got this." Da-da-da." I'm like, "Oh wow!" Like, because sometimes you're not even noticing, because I think quarantine doesn't really allow you to like take everything in properly. But yeah, no, it's been amazing just to see it, and we entered the charts, which is like, for an indie artist like myself, that's crazy. Like,
yeah,
you know, that's just bonkers. Yeah.
No, for sure. And yeah, just kind of to add on to that, because I know you're not really a big tweeter, it seems. So I think when the video dropped, and there was like a huge, like massive, like social media discourse about it, which I guess can be quite overwhelming. Just kind of thinking, yeah, I just kind of made a hook, and you know, I was having fun in a sense. And you know, people are saying stuff like, okay, you know, talks about colorism and stuff like that, saying, oh, kind of the song kind of like lost its kind of integrity in a sense, not having you on in the remix, or you know, there's a whole bunch of discussions. But I guess where does Amia like kind of lie with this discussion? Like, because I guess there's been some time to kind of like reflect and even gain more information about the whole situation. So yeah, where do you kind of stand with things?
I think for me, definitely like I understood like why people felt the way they felt, and I agreed as well, you know, with a lot of the outrage or the feeling of like, oh, I would have loved to have seen you, all three of you, stand there. And I can understand it. And for me, I think representation matters. It's so important. And it's not just important for us as artists, like, oh, because we want to be seen. It's important for the way that we see ourselves, period, as in how, you know, my niece and my nephews see the world around them and seeing people who look like them. So I think the bigger conversation to me is what I was so proud of. Like, that's what I was so happy that, of course, you know, I hate the controversy, but the actual like core of what people were upset about, like, I was so happy because it's like, it means that artists to come after me, like, these things are always going to be challenged. And that goes to show that things are changing and things will continue to change for the better. So that's what I was excited about, and that's what I was happy about. Like, we're having a conversation about what can we do in the music industry to be better and to make sure that we are inclusive and that we represent everybody. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. If anything, I guess it's also like the conversation that you were having in the music videos, like carried on like for such a long time after it.
That is, you know, I never even thought about that. Like, that's really, really true. Like, that is actually crazy. And you know what? Sometimes I think things like that do happen because of the connection that people had to the video. So the message resonated with people a lot, really deeply. I do think if it was any other song, probably people wouldn't it would be a topic, but it wouldn't be a bit as big as it was. But so I do really feel like, yeah, it struck a chord with people. And so they wanted to see that on the bigger stages as well. Yeah.
Sure. So obviously following up Peng Black Girls, you also, as you mentioned before, you did R&B medley, which in my opinion was really, really sick. You kind of composed all these songs that were they like inspirations of yours, or was it something that's kind of compiled for you to kind of like sing? It'd be kind of interesting to see how that medley came about.
Yeah, so funny because I actually it was actually very intentional. So I just basically picked songs by women, so only by women, that was sung by women, and also I wanted them to tell a story. So if you wrote down the lyrics, it would actually make sense. So because usually with R&B mashups, it's like one song, and maybe one song that just flows into another. But I really wanted it to actually make sense, like actually be able to follow it as a song. So yeah, that was the intention behind it. And I love all those songs. Like some songs are like not popular, like not everybody knows about Danny Kane or remembers Danny Kane from making the band, but I do.
Or 702 or Envo
Or
and stuff like
702,
this.
exactly.
I had to Shazam. I was trying to Shazam. I was like, where's this 702 song? What's going on? Yeah. So I definitely discovered a couple songs there as well.
Sick. Oh, I love that.
And speaking of which, so in terms of like moving forward, so you mentioned there's been like murmurs of like an EP coming. So what can we expect from you with this EP coming forward?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about I've always been thinking about this EP, and I've always been thinking about albums. So kind of my thought process, I always think like long term and like the story. So I have my single out, Sweet Love, at the moment, and we're creating some sort of visuals for that. But we're also kind of looking at the whole body of what an EP is, and I've kind of like been tossing and turning with it, because a lot of EPs are just like different songs to kind of showcase what the artist is about. But I actually want it to feel like a little mini album in a way. So I'm going through a lot of sounds. Like I listen to, like, someone sends me a beat like nearly every day. I'm like listening to so many beats. So I'm just trying to like get the message behind it, the story behind it, and make it as cohesive as possible, and to feel like a mini project basically. So hopefully sometime this year you'll have it.
Yeah, I guess like you're saying, like getting visuals out as well, all this like pent up creativity. I'm sure we're just like waiting for like lockdown to end to be able to like get back.
Honestly, I think you can still film. Yeah, no, honestly, I do think you can still film in this time. So it's like a lot of planning that's going. So not just your usual like, okay, we've got a day and then we create, the whole team comes together. It's like there's so much more thought that is going, that goes towards doing the video and all the other things after. But I think that's part of also that tension is also like I'm gonna try and channel it into the things I'm writing. So yeah, that energy won't go to waste.
I think there's a bit of a tangent, but I think when Childish Gambino was making his second albums, this is around like 2012, 2013, and he says like one thing that he was really kind of keen on was that he wanted like all his like forms of media to kind of connect. So when he made his album, he wrote like a screenplay, and he also wanted the music videos to kind of like all connect. So what he kind of wanted to do was like, if you just listen to the album, you won't get the full story. If you just look at the music videos, you won't get the full story. You kind of need all of them to come together to kind of get the full idea of what he's trying to say. It kind of seems that you are kind of in that same vein as well, where it's kind of like you seem really intentional about how the songs fit together as well as like the visuals and things like that. Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. And like, I think for me, it's really like I want to, it's going to be like my first introduction and people really getting to know who I am as an artist. So I definitely want to put the right leg forward and kind of like start as I mean to go on. So for sure, like I'm always thinking about all these things. I have a film background. I came from like the theatre world. So all those things will be incorporated for sure, in everything I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll be looking out for the EP.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
No, thank you for coming on. Just to kind of round out the show. So what we do, as for every episode, we have our now and then playlist. I think I mentioned this to you before, so
like come prepared.
Yeah, so yeah, we put a new song on every week. We also put kind of a bit of a throwback. So yeah, just to kind of ease the pressure, I'll kind of go first with this one. So I think it's no surprise. I'm gonna add one of your songs, so I'm gonna add "Sweet Love" to the playlist. So that'll be my now song, and my then song. Oh, I'm gonna add "Just Enough for the City" by Stevie Wonder. I mean, it's quite a bit recently. Yeah,
Oh,
really good song. Yeah, so that would be my two songs. Go on, John. What's your songs?
Okay. Right. My now song is "Prison of the Moment." Jasmine Sullivan and Anderson .Paak on song Price Tags. I haven't listened to the whole album yet. I've listened to like half of it. Mixtape. Yeah, here we go. But their voices just work together. And as we say every week, Anderson .Paak does not miss. Yeah. So yeah, it's a great song.
Cool.
Go on.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, cool. My then song is "Respiration" by Black Star.
Okay, nice.
So yeah, Talib Kweli and Mos Def. Yeah, it's a great song.
What's your TV?
My now song will be Tiana Major 9, Same Space. And my then will be Michael Jackson, Rock With You. I'm in a Michael Jackson study mode at the moment, so
it's never bad to be in a Michael Jackson mood. To kind of close out this interview, is there anyone you would want to like thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to all my friends and family. I'm on the X Factor. Shout out to them. No, big shout out to them, and also everybody who's just joined me on this journey and has been so supportive and has been really supporting me and making me feel seen. I really, really appreciate that. And thank you for like streaming, downloading, supporting Peng Black Girls and Sweet Love. And I'm excited. I'm really, really excited for the future. Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to see what you do.
Yeah. Where can we kind of find you, like on social medias and platforms?
Yeah, I am on everything. So follow me on Instagram, Amia_Brave. That's AMIA. And then on Twitter, Amia Brave. And follow me on YouTube because I have so much more content coming out on there too. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, just to tag on, also we just kind of got on YouTube a few weeks ago, so follow us at the Vinyl Collective on YouTube. Yeah, more this interview and lots of other content will be there on there. On Twitter at TVC Pod, on Instagram at Vinyl Collective Pod. I don't think I'm missing anything out, am I, John?
No, just all the other like Apple. What is it? Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, we're on every platform. Mate. Like if you have some sort of device, we'll be there, mate. You can't escape us. So yeah, that'll be it from us, guys. Thanks. See you guys next week.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.